What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I host the only online conversation in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national father organization. And another thing I have make some time to do is I'm the board chair of the Global Food and Drink Initiative. It's a multimedia not-for-profit that's based in Oakland. I'm the board chair here in Toronto, and their mission is to showcase Blacks in the diaspora that are doing everything and all that in food, wine, and travel. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. One of the areas, especially these days, I'm hearing a lot of conversation about in the Black environment is wealth. And you know what? Folks realize it. We live in a capitalistic society, so you should know a little about wealth. So tonight we have a very epic conversation. There's an event coming up called Behind Closed Doors, Financial Freedom, Our Only Hope. And the driving forces of that conversation, which is happening this Friday night at 7 p.m., is two people that I know. One I'm going to introduce to you now. The other one you're going to get at the end. So the front end and the back end, you may know. The two people in between, you're going to get to know them really, really well. For those who may not know her, I have known this wonderful lady for a minute, for an hour, but she still looks like she's just came out. L.A. Wade, yeah, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem, says Dr. Vibe, and I agree. I'm in agreement with you.
And I'm in agreement with you. And always thank you so much for sharing important people in the Black environment. They're doing the right thing with the right intent. And when you brought this to my attention about a week and a half ago, and she says, Dr. Vibe, can you, I said, don't ask, just tell me when we got to get it done.
I appreciate your support of us. You are always ready to have an interview, and I don't bother you unless it's really important. And I just think that generational wealth in our community is really important.
Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
As long as we move further, never say the word bother to me. You're not bothering me. Because I know if you're coming to me, it's for a right reasons, for a reason. So no problem. So we're going to introduce our other participants in this great event. And we have a lady, I love her tagline, Freedom with Fran. Freedom, man, I like freedom, but now I'm feeling like I got to have Francine Joseph give me that freedom. Francine, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Definitely blessed and COVID free. So amen to that. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to speak on this platform and discuss a little bit about the town hall that we have coming up with the Elephant Room and another guest that we have. And so just a little bit about me and what I do. I'm a financial services educator. I'm also a financial literacy advocate. I'm a licensed independent insurance advisor under the Financial Services Commission of Ontario. And it is my passion to help individuals and families create generational wealth.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And I think I have to get you one-on-one sometime because that passion is just outstanding. So thank you so much for taking the time.
No problem. For the conversation
tonight. And also thank you for not only taking the time tonight, but taking the time past, present, and future to help us.
Yes, definitely important for not only our generation, but our community. So anything that I can do to give back to the community, the Black community, the Black diaspora, I'm definitely on board with. So when LA invited me to be a part of to join a partnership with our town halls, I was definitely on board. Excellent. And I've known LA for at least like a good 5 years, and I know she's good people. So I know anything that she's a part of or she's doing, I'm going to be about it as well.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I paid her to say that.
Well, she don't come cheap. She don't come cheap. You know that financial person, no. She don't come cheap.
But it's okay. It's I'm going to get a good return on my investment.
I
Time
received
is
that.
money. Time is money, but that's definitely what we'll be talking about on our town hall on Friday.
That's right.
Excellent. Well, let's bring in another gentleman who's going to make Friday's experience outstanding. Simon Smith. I like melanated crypto. Love it. Mr. Smith, welcome. How are you?
Welcome. Thank you very much, Dr. Vibe. I am doing absolutely amazing today. Every day I'm doing amazing. So not just today. God bless and everything that he does for me, and I work with him. So that's just the way it is with me. Let me kind of introduce myself. First of all, High Freedom with Fran and LA Wade. Definitely, I echo the sentiments that Freedom and Fran said in regards to being able to present on this platform with you, Dr. Vibe, and being able to present on Friday on the platform put together with LA Wade and Mike Truth for the Elephant Room and for the town hall that we're going to be doing. It's absolutely going to be great. I think it's very important, and LA kind of talked about it, and so did Freedom of Fran in regards to generational wealth. I think it's something that's sometimes overlooked within the melanated community because, we're bombarded with everything else. And, with that, I'm saying we're always bombarded with the chains, with the grills, with the cars, with everything else. And we kind of forget that, it's a step towards, even if you want those things, there's a little bit of a steps towards that. And it's not even really that. It's what do you pass down to your kids? What did your kids pass down to their kids? So that's passing down that generational wealth. And for me personally, owning many businesses in the past, the one that I'm in right now, I'm very passionate with it because the barrier to the entry is very low. And I'm talking about cryptocurrencies. And that definitely show and prove it can build and help that generational gap in that generational wealth to the melanated people. Definitely.
Wonderful. I'm looking forward to your participation. If you ever get out of the financial industry, I think you have a long-term career in the voiceover.
Right?
Yeah. I've been told that many, many times. And yes, I plan on doing it. I do.
I'm telling you, the voice, I'm going, that voice. Oh
Right?
my goodness. Why am I not hearing it on commercials and ads and promos?
You can hear it in my movie.
Yeah.
Okay. There
In
you
my
go.
1 minute movie. You have to watch it. It's only 1 minute, but his voice is in there.
It's a start.
That's it.
There you go.
You got to credit.
Well, let's bring in Mr. Mike Truth. And as I said before we got on live, the master of the deep conversation.
Yes.
Mr. Truth, how we tonight?
I am good, great, and splendid. I'm feeling splendid tonight.
Very nice.
Yes, I'm extremely anointed to be in the midst of such great people. Dr. Vibe, Leif, Freedom of Fran, and Simon. And I'm just so honored that we get this opportunity to converse with you about our program that we have coming on Friday, which is, the Elephant Room TV. There's a lot of yes.
Can you talk? Well, between LA and Mike Truth, I may have listeners that do not know about the Elephant Room TV. Could you give us a little background on the Elephant Room TV for our audience, please?
Absolutely. So the Elephant Room TV is a brainchild of Miss LA Wade, and she brought me on board. And I helped feed that baby as well. And the characteristics of that baby is one that seeks to bring forth the hidden and unspoken topics and taboo topics within our community. And so in the past we've done, we've touched on different topics such as abuse and a lot of the toxicity that occurs in our community. And you know what, we believe that if we have to grow forward as a community, we have to look at the unspoken topic and the tabooness of us not having the wealth conversation. So we came together and decided that we're going to have this on Friday, and we have two amazing guest speakers that are going to come and impart knowledge, because part of wealth is imparting knowledge. So we're very excited for this program, and can't wait.
Thank you so much for the backdrop on that. I want to ask Fran and Simon, what does wealth mean to you?
I guess I'll start. Wealth to me means not having to depend on your paycheck, not having to look into your, putting your bills on auto pay and not having to worry if it's going to be covered. If we want to go deeper, now that I am a mother, prior to, having my daughter, I didn't really think much of wealth. But now for me, wealth means passing on a legacy to her, her not having to depend on the system to get, to own a home, to buy a car, to acquire assets. And so for her, I'm building my wealth and I'm building my assets portfolio. So that way, when she gets to be my age, or if not sooner, she doesn't have to depend on a system that's, let's face it, as soon as you finish college, you come out with this big student loan, right? So I feel like the system is automatically has set up our kids to go into the workforce or go into adulthood and fail. That is not what I'm doing for my daughter. And I want to teach and educate other parents to do that as well. I think it's super important.
Very nice. And I think there's someone that knows Mr. Smith here.
Yes, that's my dear sister.
Oh, good stuff. And who does fantastic broadcast work. Also, people do follow her on social media, does incredible stuff. Let's get back to you, Simon. What does wealth mean to you?
Yes, that's such a good question. And really, for me, it boils down to one word, and that's freedom. And the reason why wealth means freedom is because, similar to what Freedom of France said, it allows you to do what you want.
Oh no!
Right?
We got him.
I'm here. Freedom allows you to do what you want to do when you want to do.
Exactly.
It's not having to worry again about the bills. And when I think about wealth and freedom, I kind of think about my kids and the time that I can now spend with my kids and my family. That's very important. And even what they will have, what they can look for, and what I can teach them right now is how to build that generational wealth so that they can have that freedom, because I think that freedom is very important for everybody. And so for me, basically, really, the word wealth for me just means freedom to do what I want.
Nice. I'm not going to let LA and Mike Truth away. They're going to have to answer this question too, but I'll leave LA to last. Mike Truth, what does wealth mean to you?
Oh man, I think Simon and Francine, they hit it right on the head. And to add to it, I feel like wealth is having an abundance and choice as well. And to basically allot your time and your life, live your life however you want to. And I think Simon said the bulk of it equates to freedom. Freedom, which means the ability to really, choose whatever it is that you want and live life on your own terms. So for me, I'll keep it at that. That's what wealth represents for me.
LA?
I believe that everyone said, a lot about what freedom is, what wealth is, which is freedom. But I also would like to offer that freedom and wealth are both kind of like ideologies that are influenced by perspective. And so wealth is something that is encompassing of many things, not just financial wealth. And so those of us, I think that there's an elephant in the room when we talk about wealth building in terms of financial wealth, and that we're not all starting at the same place. There's definitely a discrepancy in the amount of money that is distributed across our community, and there's a number of reasons for that. And so I think another aim of this workshop or this town hall is to be able to empower those that think that they have nothing to start with, and to know that that generational wealth is still possible financially for you when you don't have a lot, simply by the choices you make in terms of investing and evaluating what are the important priorities in your life. So wealth encompasses a lot of different things, Dr. Vibe.
Thank you so much. What I'm going to do for the rest is I'm going to just lay out some questions and just have an open conversation amongst all of us here. What are some of the misconceptions Black people in your journeys have when it comes to wealth?
Can I start, actually?
I had a feeling you're going to come out of the gate hard on that one.
Yeah. So, in my experience, I feel like a lot of people feel like the terminology wealth or the concept of wealth is this convoluted process. And really, it only really takes three major keys, which is discipline, commitment, and time. Obviously, you do need money to build wealth, but if you're committed and if you're disciplined, you can build wealth. Like, you don't have to be making a whole lot of money. You don't have to be a millionaire. You can be have a salary of 40, 50,000. And as long as you're committed to building generational wealth and discipline, you can start as little as $25 a week. It's just like LA was saying, there's many different options and opportunities out there that allow you to build wealth. So depending on a person's budget and a person's commitment and time factor, are you willing to sacrifice $25 a week or $100 a week, right? So that's just what I would like to add.
I'm gonna have some more questions just based on the answer, but I'm gonna let other people respond.
That's so beautiful. I think Francine, I definitely I agree with what you said, and I think as melanated people, often our relationship with wealth has been something where we think it is other than us. We do not attach ourselves to the idea of wealth. And that is, as LA often talks about, the buy-in into, where people, we classify when you look at the classes that you're in. And so, like, I think traditionally, wealth has been something that we've viewed as distant. So therefore, our mindset is not on it. So, I think our mindset towards wealth has always been distant. And I think this town hall, they will definitely aim to, have people assess their mindset. Yes, close the gap in that. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else want to add?
I don't mind adding in here. Definitely, I agree with Freedom Friend and Mike. It's a mindset thing. It's when we think of things that we can't achieve, or we don't think we can achieve it, when it actually is there and it is achievable. And because we look at it as a mountain instead of a small hill, I think that gets most of us most of the time when we talk about achieving wealth or trying to get to that point where we can be wealthy. And like Freedom France said, there is options out there. It also comes down to an educational thing and just being educated and being willing to be educated. That's another thing, something that holds a lot of us melanated people back, is just the willingness to be educated on these things. If we, kind of take our egos down and accept kind of some of the education that's out there, coming from our own people, it's very helpful, because there are people out there that are very well educated and can help each other, help the community. So I definitely think it comes down to just an educational piece. Definitely comes down to a mindset, just having that mindset and having it change over time, and just starting, just getting out there and just doing and just starting and not holding back, just going.
Right.
Simone is saying you have to have a money mindset. It's about having a positive relationship with money.
Yes.
Well, get to that comment. Ellie, anything you want to add to what has been said so far?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so I'm going to cycle back in. How many of us, in your opinions, in your journeys, have had good education from our parents? when it comes to money mindset, because most of the things, rightly or wrongly, especially when we grow up, our parents influence us. So Francine, you already...
Is that an elephant I hear? Or...
Francine, you were shaking your head, so you have the floor.
You know what? I can't front. My parents did the best that they could with the tools and resources that they had, being immigrants coming into this country about 40 years ago, right? So I'm first generation Canadian. And so a lot of those tools, like I tell, I'm very open and transparent. I've had 2 consumer proposals in my 20s and my early 30s. And that process, along with the process of, becoming licensed, that's when I really understood the concept of financial literacy and how important it is to know things like how your credit score affects your future and, present day. So yes, growing up, my mom did take me to a bank when I was like 13 or 14 for me to open up my first bank account. And pretty much beyond that, for a very long time, that's all I knew, have a bank account, have a savings account. Did I know about, how to invest into like a TFSA or the stock market, index funds? No, that's something I learned, later on in life. But I don't place blame because, you know what, when you know better, you do better. And so as I educated myself and my mother educated herself on financial issues and financial literacy, we learned what right from wrong, so to speak. And so now we're passing on that education concept or educational piece to our community, but not only our community, our family as well, because it all starts in your home, right?
Anyone want to add on in regards to what previous generations have taught us when it comes to generational wealth and thought? Go ahead, LA.
I would like to add that when my mom used to do was always say, get a savings account or open your mutual funds. And so that is good that she's telling me to do that. But she didn't, that's all she knew. So it's like whatever she understood about investing is what she kind of passed on. And it was kind of insufficient for being able to plan for real estate. Like the real estate option could have been more available to me because, she's a saver. So she would have had money for me put aside for me to go to school, or maybe like for me, I'm investing in things that allow my son to really get the mindset of wealth from now. I too took my son when he was 13, 14 to the bank, but I made an appointment for the banker to teach him what compound interest was and to understand what a diverse portfolio could possibly look like for him. And I also really engaged him around, there's a Netflix show that talks about the generational gap in wealth between the races in America. And I had him sit down and watch that because he's so into money. And that documentary, that mini documentary, fundamentally changed the way my son looks at money. And from that point forward, we opened up, I think it was called Think or Swim, which is a fake app on the TV market that is real. It's real stats that are happening with the exchange, but you are doing it with fake money. So he started to practice this at 16, 17. And he knows that he'll be a millionaire by the time he's 30, if not before that. So that's how I was able to pass it on. But I was given a limited scope in terms of thinking, what could I do with money? And like to Mike's point, what is our relationship with money?
Okay. Anyone else wanting to add in regards to what did your parents or what did your parents tell you or teach you about wealth?
Dr. Vibe, I mean, when you said it, I was thinking you're kind of reading my mind, because for me, that's one of the things I definitely cover when I start talking about cryptocurrency and individuals getting into it, especially the melanated community. And the reason why I talk about it is because, we talk about building generational wealth, but we never talk about breaking the generational, traditions that we had before. Now, again, like Freedom and Fran said, it's most of our parents immigrated to this country, and we are first round, Canadians. So they had a very limited tools to use to actually invest or know any investment vehicles. But now the opportunity is there. So I think it's all about, can you break that tradition that was passed down to you, create a new tradition, start a new tradition, and then pass that on, in return generating that generational wealth and passing that downward. So definitely, I think that's a big thing when it comes to tradition, and just what, you know, our parents or our parents before that, and how they saved, and how they looked at money, and how they looked at wealth. You know, most of the times, most people look at keeping up with the Joneses, and I think that's the wrong way to look at it, because, you know, us Black people, let's face it, we do have that little bit of ego, we do have that little bit of attitude sometimes, but I think we got to throw that away, and really think about, you know, what the future holds for us, what the future holds for our community, our family, what's going to happen there. I think that's very important.
Great points. Anyone else want to add on? I got you're dropping knowledge bombs here, people. So the questions are just percolating in my alleged mind. Yeah. And when Simon said, "Oh, you could read my mind," that could be a dangerous thing. Read my mind. That could be dangerous, but it should be good all the time. Mike, Truth, anyone else? Anything else you want to add?
Absolutely. And I love what everybody is saying, because I think that the old generation had a survival mindset when it comes to wealth, a scarcity mindset. And for me, what they did is as everybody's been saying, they provided us with the best that they could, which was to survive. But then along with that, for me, in my case, it's an opportunity, because I am an immigrant. I was born in Ghana and brought here. So my understanding of wealth now has changed from, you know what, in this climate that I'm in, I'm not here to survive. Like, I'm here to thrive. And along with that, it opens up more avenues, you know, when it comes to how I view wealth, as opposed to how my father views wealth. Because in conversation with him, it will still be on that survival mindset. But I think it came from a survival and a scarcity mindset.
I just wanted to throw a statistic that I found, and I found it very unbelievable at first, but it is a statistic. So there were researchers at Yale. So researchers at Yale estimated, they were doing a study, and they estimated that for every $100 for wealth in white families, it was equivalent to $5.04 for Black wealth in the US, right? $100 to $5. And so to hear that, like, my mind is so blown. It means that we have so much work to do, and to narrow the gap, to even get it down to, like, you know, 50%. It's just mind blowing. And so this is the work that I've dedicated myself to, and I'm so happy to be a part of this, team, to be able to deliver the town halls that we will be delivering.
Nice. Does anyone want to add on to that statistic that was just brought up?
I think the statistic speaks for itself.
It does. Definitely, that statistic, that's strong, female friend. Definitely. I mean, I looked at a few the other day, and one that was done actually in January. The average investment income of a non-visible minority is about 11,000. For the Black, it's about 4. It's low. I mean, how many of us save? About 30.9% for a non-visible minority, and about 13% for Black. I mean, that kind of shows you what's happening out there, right? And Freedom of Friend, I mean, you see these numbers all the time. You come across them and you see them. So what you're saying doesn't surprise me at all. It just needs to change somehow. It just needs to change. That's what I gather from it. It just needs to change.
How has the last year impacted on this topic?
Who's gonna speak on this? Oh, COVID. Whoa. It depends on what your mindset is. For some, with a positive, money mindset, they see it as opportunity. And for others, unfortunately, for a lot of other people, it's a survival mindset, right? They're just basically getting by to survive, because they've either lost income, they've lost a job, they've had to sell their home, downsize. I've seen it. And so, depending, upon the mindset, But I would say the general consensus is that it's been very hard. It's been very challenging. However, throughout the challenge or within the challenge, there's also a light at the end of the tunnel. There's still hope, and there's still ways that people can invest in small ways to ensure that they're still on track for, building for their family. So I don't want people to get deterred, families to get deterred because of the landscape that we're currently in and we're currently facing.
That's so beautifully said, Fran. To add on to it, I think that it shows, the wealth of knowledge on survival skills as well. For me, how to pivot. A word that you may probably have heard a lot and may get tired of is pivots. It shows, how, if a person is to go from survival to thrival, you're now that survival mode now, I guess, even more. How do you pivot? What has been passed on to you? What have you picked up to be able to, adjust? And so, for me, the last year has really, really shown, the ideas and the power of different individuals in my circle to really reinvent themselves and really either focus on things that they've always wanted to do, which brings forth the very important points: time and money. When you have the time, how you generate wealth.
And another key point there, Mike, to just kind of piggyback onto your point, is leveraging the resources that you have around you, right? So whether it be money, but you don't necessarily have to. You can leverage time. You can leverage the people in your life, friends, family, opportunities. Keyword there is leverage.
Anyone else wanting to add on this topic? What the last year is looked like for Black wealth?
I'll add a little bit here. Opportunity. It's there. It has been there since COVID has come around. For example, the stock market and cryptocurrency market and other markets out there, they have seen a rise. Between 60 and 70% more people using the stock market, getting into cryptocurrency, getting into stocks, getting into ETFs, getting into all that stuff just over the period of COVID. Opportunity. It is there. Now, that's not to say the other flip side of it, because COVID has had an impact mentally on individuals. And that's big too. And that can affect and will affect when it comes to money, when it comes to wealth, when it comes to just thinking about anything. So I think it comes down to opportunity. And Mike said it before, it's a mindset thing. Really is. If you can turn your mind and change the way you thought before and the way you were thinking and think differently, the opportunity is right there. And I don't think we're going to get another opportunity like this for a very, very long time. And this is what I stress to people when I talk about what I talk about. The opportunity is there, and we're not going to get this opportunity for a while, for a long time. It's there, though. It's there.
That's so big, and I don't want to I'm jumping like that, but what Simon said, it really, really brings me back to this analogy that I had early on during COVID. It's a bit reminiscent as to Master's house is burning down, the house is on fire, and it's everybody's escaping, and there is different things that you could grab. Hey, Master's gold, and just go and create different opportunities for yourself. Or a person could be like, oh my God, this house that we're gonna use to or whatever is burning down.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do? Do we stay stagnant? Do we help douse the fire? It's for me, it's the establishment, the system that's there. During the past year, I've seen it as it's a restructuring to now. It could be seen as a shift of power, but as Simon said, it's we have to take into account the mindset and the mental state of a lot of different people, because it has affected people.
I'm going to add one more. I'm going to add one more thing there. And Freedom of Friend may agree with me. I think that we're going to look back 5-10 years from now, and we're going to see that the greatest transfer of wealth began. During COVID.
Sure.
Began during COVID, definitely.
So, Simon, just to add on to that point, do you think it's actually widened the gap between the haves and have-nots?
I think it has. I think it has. I think because and this would have been instinctive to some individuals before COVID came around. You know, it's all about what they were doing before, or how they thought of money, or how they thought of wealth before. COVID come around just basically did one of two things. It either exacerbated it or it broke it. And
Right.
for most, it exacerbated it. Let's be honest, it did. And they're in that circle where they're just not able to get out of. But for some, it broke, and they realize that the opportunities are there, and they don't want to look back 5 to 10 years from now and be like, man, I should have, I could have, I had the chance, you know, and instead. Go ahead. I know you got to say something.
No, you're bringing me back to thinking about my portfolio gains for last year, you know, and yes, although, you know, COVID shut down a lot of businesses, a lot of companies, right? Stock wise, the markets did amazing last year. You know, my portfolio specifically, and a lot of my clients' portfolio increased 30-40%. So, you know, we saw companies like Zoom, obviously, you know, make increase, 500% over the span of 12 months, right? Because of the fact that everyone moved online for their meetings, right? So that right there, GameStop, what happened with GameStop earlier this year, you know? And so these are different opportunities that are allowing the Black community to get in and basically learn. But you have to have also a good solid foundation of, you know, before investing, you know, what does my emergency fund look like? Am I struggling to pay my rent? Do I have savings of at least, and when I say savings, am I invested into the markets of at least $5,000 to $10,000 before, you know, I look at investing into other opportunities such as real estate or cryptocurrency, et cetera, et cetera. So having a solid financial foundation is key, and with part of what we're going to be speaking about on Friday.
And like it's beautiful that like I always want to say kudos to LA, because when even just bringing back up a platform such as the Elephant Room TV, that was like a very genius thing on LA's part, because it allows us to then now have conversations with people such as the mayor of Brampton, and like it allowed us to now connect more with people, you know, people who we may not have, you know, had easily accessed in the past. And now, like from that, some things like Fran was saying earlier, you know, hey, if somebody does not have the funds right now, we're at a point now we're on Friday, we may be able to discuss different, you know, saving strategies that can help people build up their wealth. So see how like COVID has been really, really, you know, beneficial depending on how you see it. So that's what I'm like, right. I was like, I want to shout out LA for that move as well.
You have to do that.
Well, you know, and I was going to say LA's been way too quiet.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's the last
There's
few
a lot
months.
going on with LA. There's a lot always going on in LA, right?
I know that, but we
got a lot on the go right now.
Well, just to agree with what everyone's saying here, that I remember about a year ago, Robert F. Smith, who's one of the richest Black people in America, and he was being interviewed, and they asked him for a final comment to Black Americans, and he said, "Don't waste this crisis."
Right.
So I think that's if you can, and some
time is money.
Yeah, absolutely, and time never lost a fight, right?
Right.
So definitely, I want to just ask LA for a moment. How did this event come about?
It came about organically. I do an event. Well, I don't know an event. I do an IG live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 o'clock with Tanya Marissa, who is just a friend of mine who I've only met once in my life. She actually was a follower of mine from years ago, and we just always followed each other and had a communication that way. And then COVID, she got to see more of me and online. And I started to do IG lives, and she wanted support around anxiety and depression, which I also suffer with. And we both said to help her hold herself accountable, because she wanted to be engaged, that I would meet her online at 12 o'clock, and we would offer tips and and a cathartic experience for people to just hear us babbling about what we're overcoming together and think about things that, whatever comes to our mind. So Mondays is Manifestation Monday. Wednesday, we share wisdom. And then Friday, we're like, oh, we can't always be so serious. Let's do something called the Free Up Friday. And so the Free Up Friday, a couple of weeks ago, turned into the Financial Friday, because nothing helped you free up more than finances. And that was the idea. And we had asked Melanated Crypto to come in, but he wasn't available to do so. So then I asked Francine, who I also know is just as passionate and has the same, the same ethos is shared between all of us, that this is something really important for our community. And they're very passionate and proficient at what it is that they do. And so when she came on the live, I always say that I have a holy ghost writer. And so sometimes it just flows. And as I was speaking to her, I was like, we should have a conference and we should do a town hall and the Elephant Room should do this. And that's how a lot of my ideas happen. It's just in the height of a moment.
Sure.
I say things and it just, in my mind, it falls in line with exactly how it's going to play out. I don't know where it comes from. It just does that. And so I spoke with Francine and I said, let's do this whole thing, talk to Mike, talk to Simon, and literally like right after the live, I hung up the phone and I think I was speaking to Simon first, actually, because I went to go visit my trainer that I wanted to start working with. And I was just so excited about the possibility of putting this all together with the great minds that both Melanated Crypto and Freedom with Fran bring to the table. And Mike and I are like, we're like these celestial twins where it's like, we just know when twin powers activate, we just know each other really well spiritually. Really, really well spiritually. I can think something and he calls me already. He's like, I know, did you see that? Or did you feel that? It's just weird. So Mike, I know Mike would be down for that. It's how we breathe. It's what we live. We love our community. We ride for our community. And the relationship that we have with the community is very important to us. And so the authenticity of who we bring, they're going to trust us. So we don't want to bring people forward that are counter to what it is that we believe in and what we're trying to push. So when we present Melanated Crypto and Freedom with Fran, it's not done with like, these people might do something to our followers. It's more like you can trust these people to help you and it will be an authentic helping. And that's why they're here. And that's why we wanted to partner with them, not just share a platform with them, but partner with them around creating generational wealth over these town halls.
And big ups to LA, because a lot of people talk the talk, they talk the idea, but when it actually comes to showing proof or following through, that's where a lot of people fall short or fall flat. And LA made it happen within like literally a few days. So kudos to her.
Thank you. This is very awkward. Thank you.
I love it when LA blushes, so that's good. I like that. So I want to ask specifically Simon and Francine, when you approach Black potential clients with your great knowledge and the opportunity for them to get some freedom, how do they respond?
So for
I see
me,
another elephant in the room.
Well, first and foremost, like my approach is definitely an educational one. Whether it be through my social media platforms, I hate coming across as if I'm being salesy, so to speak. I definitely like to come with statistics because I think statistics really hits home. So I definitely take an educational, holistic approach in terms of generational wealth or just financial literacy, but specifically around the Black community or how they take it is, well, it depends. You have the older generation and you have the younger generation. So the younger generation are definitely more, adaptive, so to speak, and they're easily able to adapt to the technology. Also, the information that's being out. There's so much information. So how do you know how to like sift through the information and what's right from what's just like information that's useless or it can't help you, right? So with the older generation, though, I'm finding that they're stuck in their ways. So what they knew from 30, 40, 50 years ago is what they continue to basically move on with or adapt as they get older, right? So they're very stuck in their ways, but it's also allowing a new, fresh approach to financial initiatives, financial education, right? Allowing, specifically for me, I offer free online financial literacy workshops, right? So, that in itself is so key to helping me educate everyone from the older generation to the younger generation, especially in these times of COVID where we can't meet up face to face or in person anymore.
Okay. Simon.
Yeah, definitely. Friend, you said a lot of things I was going to say. So thank you for saying that. But you're absolutely right. And when I approach people and talk about cryptocurrency, it's not, the conversations are it's on the tip of everybody's tongue today. I mean, it's in the news, it's in the paper. I mean, who hasn't heard, and people talking about Bitcoin or anything like that? So it's all about, when I start talking about it, I try to come at it at an angle where it's a growth, and the educational side of it. For example, my son's 24. So, talking to him and the millennials like him, it's not a problem. They already know. They're on Google. They're on all the news sites. They're on forums. They're on Reddit. They see, they hear, all this stuff. So for them, it's, let me know what they need to do, where I need to go. I'm there. I'm down, buying. Okay, right. Cool. So they understand that. For the baby boomers, my parents' age, it's a little bit different. Like Freedom of France says, it's a little bit different. They're not used to downloading that mobile app and going on the app and purchasing this. They're not used to, Googling certain things or going on to Reddit. So they are stuck in their ways. But how I look at it is, bring statistics also, but I just bring show and prove. So what I've done and what I've shown people is where I started and where I am now. And I say to them, if I can do it from where I was, then you can do it from where you are right now. Definitely, I just show and prove. That's the biggest thing for me, is just showing people where I was and where I am now and what they can do going forward. But yeah, I mean, like I said, for millennials, it's so easy talking about cryptocurrency. For baby boomers, it's like, what are you talking about? What's that? Can I buy it? How do I spend it? Can I go to the store with it? And I'm like, hold on a second. Let's get down to the basics first and kind of talk about the educational piece.
I want to add something to that because it's, my mom, who was getting ready to retire when she was about 62, she was actually the motivational force for me to pursue this career. And what actually pushed me to do the license was that, she's coming from a banking industry as, for 40 years back where she's from, and then in Toronto. However, her exit strategy for her retirement was at about 62, 63, she decided to pursue her license, right? And so I looked at that and I'm like, wow, if my mother, who's past 60, has a plan for her retirement and which is going to have this license, and she's pursuing her license, she's going for the exams, and the exams are no easy feat, but she definitely pushed herself. And for me, seeing that, I was like, well, if she can do it at 60, I can definitely do it at 34, 30, 35, right? So I think it comes down to mindset, right?
Don't age yourself.
What?
Don't age yourself.
Oh, nay, two
That's
things.
Okay. I know I have a baby face.
My truth, LA, anything you're wanting, like I'll ask you when you were first approached about this topic, maybe outside of our two great friends here, what were your initial reactions and what's been the turning point for each of you when to take wealth more serious in your journey?
You want me to go, Mike, first?
Sure.
For me, well, there was a time where, I've always kind of taken it seriously. I was limited with knowledge and resources. I didn't have a lot of people around me that were benefiting me. So that's my whole background story. So I don't have, I didn't have that. I'll just say that. That being said, I'm very aware of that it's important to do so. And how that came about, I think it was a progression over time, but I think the turning point was when TD Jakes came to speak at a conference, and there was a bunch of other speakers, and a gentleman by the name of Phil Town, who is one of these billionaire investors. He manages a lot of money. And he spoke, and he really got me excited about the possibility of building that wealth. And Mike and I signed up for the workshop. And that was a very eye-opening experience, having to go through a SWOT analysis, create a team, and investigate companies and learning what to look for, and coming up with the option trading matrix that he gave us.
Yes.
There was a lot of things that I was like, it was new information. And the thing is, with our community, I think I can present information to you, but sometimes it has to be a growing into what you're hearing, just because I sing the alphabet to a baby doesn't mean they understand what they're hearing. So I think that there's a progression in the way that we have to learn with the information, but you also have to be dedicated to learning. Some people are just better students. They want to be involved. They want to go do the research. And so that's where the turning point was for me. And Mike and I signed the contract that we were going to become millionaires in the next 5 years. So really, it's by next year, we're going to become millionaires. But I personally am a very go-getter kind of person. So I know that I will become a millionaire by the end of this year. So, we're, and it's funny because, to be transparent for myself, it's like people think that I'm just in this wonderful financial situation. I struggle very much because after coming from a divorce and having to pay a lot of money and still having the debts and only having one form of income and still having to contribute financially towards my children, and all of these things seem like setbacks. But in spite of where I am financially, I still believe that I will be a millionaire by the end of this year. And the reason for that is that there really is, like to Simon's point, that there are opportunities all around us. And it's about how you prioritize and choose what it is that has value for you to make those sacrifices. Now, I have to have my son to consider. I can't just uproot him and do drastic things. But at the same time, there are other things that I can do, and calling upon my community to support me, to help me with my show, to help me with these ideas. All of those little things are ways of us sharing in group economics. It doesn't always have to be with our money. It's nothing for me and for you to provide this platform for us to have this discussion. I use my voice, I use my platform, I use my networks, I use my resources, I use my time, and that's how I give. And because I give so much of that, I know that I will be a millionaire at the end of this year because I know what I'm doing. So, and that's what I mean by perspective.
I would call that bold, sold, and told by L.A. Wade.
Now I say that, right? And then there's going to be people to pray against me. So Lord, protect me from the weapons that are formed against me. They shall not prosper.
Hey.
I plead the blood, okay?
Hey. New levels, new devils, right?
That's right. Or new levels, same devils. There's more.
That too. Or maybe additional devils. Much truth to that.
Yeah.
Folks, when it comes to the Black community, I'm going to focus especially with Freedom, with Fran and Slim here. Freedom, you said earlier on, like $40,000, $50,000 a year. Many Black people ain't making that kind of money, right? How can they? But they can still get started.
They can still get started.
So I'd like Freedom and Simon to sort of give some calls to action on how they can get started.
No, they have to come to the.
They have to tune in on Friday.
Even one thing.
Nope, it's a town
hall.
hall.
All right.
come, you can go to any of our social medias, and you can sign up through our link. It's a free town hall.
Locked down. I love it.
Well, actually, Dr. Vibe, I did add a few keys earlier on. I'll repeat one of them.
Just
one
one.
of them,
Just one.
Yeah, just one. One of them is having the discipline.
Thank you.
That's key.
Ooh, that's a key.
That's true. Simon, I love what you shared, and I think for everyone here, and especially with you, how you said transformation.
Mm-hmm.
You have lived it, and you can actually say how it's transformed your life, and also Fran too. How has it transformed your lives? Each one of you can just share, like where you were and where you are now, because I think it's good to chat about it. But how's it actually had an effect on the way you live, the way you breathe, the way you carry yourself?
Right. For me, it definitely, it is a transformation. And for me, looking back, even to my younger days, and the way that I viewed money, or the way that I spent money back then, it was really atrocious the way I think about it now. And what I thought was great, having the newest pair of shoes on, or the best tracksuit, because tracksuit was a big thing back in the days, or having that chain. Or having just being able to flash money. After a while, you understand that it gets you really nowhere, because it's there's nothing to back it up. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, is like, great, I'm flashing $1,000 in your face, but my savings account is -20, -30, -100. There's nothing there. So, how can I be flashing this money and coming off like that when I got nothing as a backup? And Freedom of France said that. And I think the biggest thing for me was really understanding. And I don't want to say too much, because LA and Mike are going to get mad at me. So I'm going to hold.
Yeah, you're under lockdown.
I am under lockdown. But
Fran gave one. That's it. Done.
But that's it for me. But I will say, it is best to realize and really be truthful with yourself and honest with yourself to know where you are. And when you're like that and honest with yourself, then it's when you can take that next step in the direction which you need to go. Just being honest with yourself.
What you said there is what LA's vision is with the Elephant Room.
Honest, transparent,
So we're talking about financial here, but that is her vision. I remember her telling me that for the first time, and it is right with her vision.
That's why they're here.
Yeah, exactly.
That is exactly why they're here.
So it's just like the Police album, synchronicity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very synchronistic.
We're all blessed because of this. And I'm just really grateful that we can all come together and make something happen.
Well, our time is up, because everyone has a little thing to do once in a while. But what I'm going to ask is each one of you to just make a closing comment. And while you're making your closing comment, I will flash where people can get in touch with each one of you individually on Instagram. LA, you're going to be going last. So first up, we're going to go with, I'll go Simon first.
Gosh, why not? My final comments really is for everyone to, whoever's out there, whoever's watching tonight and listening to everything that we've talked about, to really take hold of this opportunity that's presented to you and that's presented to all of us right now. Generational wealth is available as long as we take the opportunity and the time to learn, educate ourselves, understand what's out there for us right now, get in contact, get in touch with individuals that can help you. Take it, do it right now. Don't waste any more time. The time doesn't wait for anybody. We're not cats. We don't have 9 lives. We got one. So if you're going to do something with it, you better do something with it now. And if that's getting things ready and getting yourself on track to the point where you can pass that generational wealth down to family, that's what you need to do. So really, that's my closing comments. See me on melanatedcrypto.ca, at melanatedcrypto.ca on Instagram. And we're on our way.
Thank you. Mike Truth, we'll also see you on Friday night.
Yes.
Mike Truth, go ahead.
I'm just simply going to say that, you know, if you're watching this, you deserve to be wealthy. So it starts with the mindset. So tap in with us on Friday. And you guys can find me at Mike_Truth on Instagram. And the website is coming up soon. It's still loading. So stay tuned, guys. Thank you so much, Dr. Wild.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure to be in your company, Mike. Thank you. Fran, drop the acknowledging bombs tonight. Go, Fran. What's your final words?
Well, thank you so much again for allowing, you know, the platform for us to speak about generational wealth to the community, to the Black community. It's super important. And just for me, I'll be speaking with regards to Friday. I will be sharing a little bit about my story on Friday's town hall, how, you know, I got into debt, how I got over debt, and where I'm at now. And, you know, you talked about basically the transformation and how it's impacted me. And I will say this, that it has been freeing. Okay. So this is what I want to impart onto you all. Tune in Friday, 8 p.m. And you guys can find me on social media platforms, Freedom with Fran. Thanks again.
You're more than welcome. L.A. Wade, what's going on?
Everything is going on, Dr. Vibe. Thank you so much again for allowing us the space to share. The Elephant Room TV has always been committed to our community, and we're so grateful, Mike and I, to be able to present this. This is also a subsidiary of the Be Well company, so when it's just the behind the scenes thing. So I remember you having a conversation with us about the Be Well company. Well, this is a product of that kind of wellness that we want to spread. And you know, building wealth and everything that we're talking about can feel really overwhelming to people who just don't know where to start. And so what I've come to understand is whatever you can do in a situation, just do that, because that will be a step that you're taking that you wouldn't have taken before if you didn't just do that.
That was great last words from L.A. Wade. And she has that, do that. She has that, do that. So, folks, great conversation. I will just add, first off, if you're watching this live on the replay, there's a link for you to register for the event on Friday. I had a great conversation. I have a lot of them, but I remember last year there's a gentleman named D. Chanson Berry. And you should look him up. Very prolific independent movie producer. Has produced movies like Dark Girls and Dark Girls 2.
Nice.
And incredible producer. And one of the things he said to me, I said, Chan, after this year, what do you want for Black people? And he said, I want Black people to stop surviving and start living. And I think one of the big ways that Black people can start living is start getting their lives back. And one of the ways they can start getting their lives back is start getting their finances back.
Right.
Yes.
Because finances not only cause a lot of breakup in relationships, and that's all across all people, not just Black people.
Right.
We're here tonight talking about Black people, but it also can break down an individual's relationship with themselves.
Yeah.
So I just want to leave on that note. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, once a month, I host the only online broadcast in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by a great organization, Dad Central, which is Canada's national fatherhood organization. Also, we like to say that I am a chairman of the board of the organization called the Global Food and Drink Initiative. It's a multimedia not-for-profit based in Oakland, California, and their goal is to highlight Blacks in the diaspora. They're doing their everything in food, wine, and travel. I'd like to thank everyone who watched live and on the replay, especially Simone. Can't leave out Simone. Simone watched.
Big up.
There you go.
Watch her show. Watch her show on Fridays at, I think it's 2 or 3.
Yes, a TCN.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful show and wonderful lady. And can't forget David either. There we go. So that's what I've got to say. And I'll close out like this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect, and remember to give yourselves grace. God bless. Peace to you all. Keep the faith, and take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.